Hello and welcome to That's So Craven, your one-stop shop for all things Fulham. This is Dave, and this is our post-game review show following yesterday's fantastic 1-2-3 points in the pocket at home, Craven Cottage against Tottenham Hotspurs. And look, it's going to be a fantastic show. We're going to get into that game. We're going to look ahead to Wednesday against West Ham as Fulham are just going to, roll on and really cause issues amongst the relegation teams down the bottom. Joined today by, of course, the Putney perspective, given his Hammersmith end perspective on yesterday's match. How's it going, Skibby?
I'm all good. I'm here, there, and everywhere. So I am the Putney end. I am the Hammersmith end. I'm everywhere. So
Like Alex
yeah,
Iwobi yesterday, all over
yeah,
the pitch.
absolutely. But no, it's good to be here. Always good to talk about a win. And to be honest, just to be back at the cottage at winning ways, it feels like it's been a while to actually witness a win at the Craven Cottage. So at the Craven Cottage? At Craven Cottage. But no, really good to be here. Enjoyed by two beautiful, beautiful men. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and the most beautiful man of all is none other than the whimsical and entertaining Samuel Berenze, who's joining us at about 12 o'clock at night from Melbourne. He's here on a Monday and he's ready to rock and roll. How's it going, Sam?
You spoil me, my friend. I'm okay. So the win is one thing, but really the biggest win is the trifecta of us all getting back together again. It's been so long. I like to think of us as something of like the Forgotten Sons to the Jack and Elton and Sam contingent. This is kind of like the bastards running amok, and it's always my favorite. It's been so long. I'm so happy, and we get to talk about a win. We don't get to talk about like a pants game. We get to talk about a fun game. I'm so excited to be here with my best Fulham friend. And I don't have a nickname for Dave yet, but I just love well, it's David Crave. I'm just too excited. I'm also a little bit overtired. We were talking smart before we got on the pod. And it's just like everything, like Skibby smiling, Dave smiling. It's just a smiley time all around.
It is indeed. And look, I just wanted first off to say welcome to everyone who's joining us in the chat too. I spot Emma in there, I spot Steve in there. So yeah, good to see you guys. And just send in comments, questions, derail us, throw us off the scent. That's what we need. That's what we need this Monday. Okay, where do we start? Well, should we start with team lineup yesterday? Because Skibby, there was a little bit of shock news when we looked at that team sheet. Me and Skibby actually met at the Distillers pub in Hammersmith before the game to have a beer, and we saw the team news. And Skibby, there was your man. I said to you, your man's in, and I was talking about none other than
Chukwueze. And I was brutally disappointed that it wasn't Chukwueze, but I was very proud and happy to see Diop get a game because, I mean, I know that Anderson offers the leadership. He controls the back line really well, and he's got all that experience. But there's just something about Diop when he plays. Like I remember the run last year when Anderson was injured and Diop came in, and he didn't put a foot wrong, but found himself, cast aside. But, I know a lot of people write Diop off, but I'm still one of these firm believers where the game has changed, and the game has changed arguably not for the better, in my opinion, where it's too tactical. You got to play out the back. You've got to keep possession. You've got to use your passing patterns and all that kind of stuff. But Diop, for me, if you played him in the Barclays era of, the mid 2000s into sort of the early 2010s, he would be a top Premier League centre back. He would be up there with your John Terrys and your Nemanja Vidics, who just they're not known for their passing ability. But I love the fact that when you stick it in the box, at least he's a centre back who attacks the ball. We just don't seem to have that in our Arsenal at the moment. So I was happy to see them there, especially against a depleted Spurs side who, they're not defending particularly well. They're not playing particularly well across the board. And I think what we discussed at the pub as well was that, Solanke is nursing an injury. Kolo Muani, I think he scored his first ever Premier League goal against Arsenal. So that was only last week, and he signed in the summer. and Richarlison's coming back from injury. You've just got these three strikers who are just not firing and just not fit, and you just think, yeah, Diop could have it's a way to ease him in. But also, the big respect I want to give him is what we found out after the game, which was when Diop got the call, he was actually at home. He wasn't with the squad. He wasn't supposed to be part of the match day squad. But, because of this whole change of football and, all morning is passing out the back, we couldn't risk Cuenca, left-footed player, at right centre-back, and vice versa with Bassi, which was a terrible thing that happened, I think, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium 2 years ago, I believe it was, or was it 3? But yeah, it just didn't work out. So Diop got the call, was asked to come in, played full 90. He is also a man of Islam, so he is fasting as well. Yeah. Huge respect. He put in a great performance, just to sort of almost sum it up. But yeah, I was happy to see him in, and I know that a lot of people weren't, and I was glad that he proved them all wrong.
Yeah, that was one for Mr. Mike Levy to suck up and enjoy.
Still waiting for that apology as well.
But Diop, fantastic balls. We'll get into it. And we won't talk about the first thing that happened in the game, which was Diop's long ball out of play. We'll move on from that quickly.
No, leave him alone. Leave him alone. I was actually thinking about this. Football is a game where you just have to keep trying. You just have to keep on pushing forward. And, you can't measure it by the mistakes. You have to measure it by the successes. And he's allowed to make a couple of mistakes in the game because overall he did a great performance, in my opinion, as well.
He did. And actually, Sam, I'm coming to you next because on the last show, you were pretty critical, scathing of Mr. Oscar Bob and his performance last week. Some said it was harsh. Others said it was, right, I guess.
Others agreed.
Others said it was still harsh. I thought yesterday he looked very techie, very quick with his feet, looks great in tight spaces. I think he must have heard the pod. He wanted to prove you wrong. Did he do enough? Did he do enough to show you that there's something there?
Unpopular. And you know what? I think this might actually just come down to taste. I can recognize this. Because again, I'm not a tactical man. I'm a story man. I will say that till the day I die. I think the thing with Oscar Bob, for me personally, is I like a Chukwueze. I like a Kevin. I like a really charismatic kind of player. I don't think Bob did anything wrong yesterday. But did he capture my heart? Not necessarily. If maybe he would have actually scored or helped create an assist from that break in the second half, maybe he could have actually captured something for me. But I don't. I'm the jury's out a little bit. But I'm ready to be proven wrong. And I did not think he played bad. I thought he played a lot better than last week. And I don't think he played bad last week. I'm very defensive right now. But at the same time, I'm just trying not to mince my words because I think he's just not necessarily my favorite type of player. Because when I think of like a winger, do you know what I think he is actually? I think he's a really good athlete. And I hate saying stuff like this, but I think he actually is a very, very good athlete. I think, but he's not a baller, and I like ballers, and I don't really see that for him. I think he was getting into great spaces. I think if it was a chessboard, he was a great knight. And I think he was actually really, really assisting us going forward. But I don't think he's just not very fun. Is that a fair criticism? And I like my football to be fun, and I'm not saying he can't become fun. Let's get a couple of drinks in him, just see where he lands at. Maybe he'll take his pants off. But until then, he's just got his little tie on, and he hasn't even undone the top button yet. And I just want to see Bob let his hair down a little bit. It took me like 2 years for like Harry Wilson to like fully let his hair down, but like we're there now, so we've got time.
Well, there you go, and Oscar Bob. If you're listening, as you can see, there's plenty for you to work on there. So it's not easy to get Sam's love. You can't just turn up one game. But once you're in, once you've got it, my God, is it worth
Honestly,
it? You know?
honestly. And you know what? I'm not giving it away for free.
Exactly. So you've got a bit of way to go. He's not even crediting you with the first goal assist. Actually, he didn't mention that. It was he's obviously put that down to the deflection being a big part of why that Harry Wilson goal went in. You're not even getting an assist of Sam.
Sorry. Can I interrupt? The reason why I forgot Oscar Bob was because Harry Wilson's goal was so fucking amazing that I literally just forgot anything in time and space when that happened, and just like. You know how like when like a goal is so lit that like literally just all the air just leaves your body in that moment, and it was very much a kind of like kind of moment when that happened. So I apologize, Oscar Bob, but as I like to say, if I forget your name, it's not my fault that you didn't make an impression on me.
Do you know what, Skibby? On a serious point on this, I think
I'm not serious.
Now a real.
On a serious point, come on, guys. On a more serious point on this, I think there is something in what Sam's saying there. In that, my view on Bob yesterday was very, very techie, and as I said, very good in tight spaces, and I think that's really encouraging. You can see he's come from like a top academy and played with good players.
Yeah, I really got that.
Touches there, but I guess for me, and what I'd like to see more of is he doesn't seem to be like as direct as some of the other guys, you know, like Chukwueze and Kevin. I don't know if he's going to contribute a great deal of goals. You know, he might get assists. He might, you know, be really tidy in the build-up play. But do you think that's something that you'd like to see more of from him?
Yeah, and I think I take it with a pinch of salt because of your mantra, which is give him time, let him have time to settle and grow in confidence. And I think you saw elements of confidence from him yesterday. Yeah, you didn't see that kind of, you know, Kevin always gets his head down, drives towards the box, always driving into wanting to get onto his right foot. Chukwueze is the same, just wants to get at his man and get into the box and see if he can get a shot away or lay it off to someone. Oscar Bob was more safe. And I think there's got to be elements of a younger player who obviously just wants to kind of settle and get into the game. And I think he was sort of getting his foot on the ball, playing the easy passes. And then there was a moment, I think, on the left-hand side where he managed to sort of jink between two defenders and sort of took the ball. And it was a really neat piece of skill. And you started to see a little glimpse then. You're like, And I think that was in the second half. So jumping ahead a little bit. But I just think, yeah, there is a player there. I think there's an element of, I reckon he will be, once he's comfortable and once he's kind of understood what's needed of him, then he can sort of grow into actually using his technique and using his skill to sort of create those goal scoring opportunities and assists. But I think, yeah, going back to his actual assist, for me, I just blanked out as soon as I saw Raul collide in the box with someone. This is where VAR has kind of ruined the game for me, because you then just think, well, that's going to be looked at. So I wouldn't get too excited about this goal. And then obviously he hooks it in for Wilson to hammer it home. But at that point, I didn't remember who hooked it back in, because I was so adamant that, you know, the ref was going to give a foul or VAR were going to say, oh, yeah, two hands in the back. It just looked quite clumsy. But fair play to Oscar Bob. And yeah, I think there was, like I said, there was elements there. There was definitely a player there. You can see why Marco likes him. He is a Marco type player. It's just that nurturing is needed just to sort of bring that out and use his skill in a way that he can help the team in a way that Marco wants to play. And I undoubtedly think he can do that. Probably not this season, but give him a pre-season going into next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into the game itself and incidents. We started really strongly, I thought. You know, we were the team that were pressuring them from the start. And, of course, we're talking about a goal that took place after, I think, 7 minutes, you know. So brilliant to get ahead so early against a team, you know, struggling at the moment, because, you know, that's when, you know, if you don't score early and give these teams confidence, that's when you can have a problem. So getting that early goal, I thought was really great. And as you said, it was interesting. You've got a different take on the opening goal to me, because I didn't really notice it at the time, the Raul running into the defender. When I saw it back on the replay above on the screens, it looked like a nothing incident. It didn't look like the player had been
You got
pushed.
bloody good eyesight if you can see that screen.
Oh man, I've got my glasses on. I have my binoculars now and the glasses. I'm studying it intensely with my rose-tinted glasses. But no,
Wow.
it didn't look like the player had moved at all. It just looked like a standard coming together. You know, if you go back earlier in this season where Man United scored and Bassi was pushed, there was nothing compared to that, in my opinion. That was much more of a foul than that. I think the only reason that the Tottenham players really tried to put the pressure on this incident is because last week they had a soft goal ruled out for a similar thing against Arsenal. So I think that was the reason why they pushed it.
Gabriel sold it much better than Dragusin did.
He did. I just thought it was nothing incident and, you know, blown out of proportion.
Right.
So I was, maybe that's rose tinted glasses, but I thought that was
no, you're bang on.
You can't be disallowing goals like that.
I think it's just the VAR aspect. I think it's just they will always look for some reason not to give it, and I just think that's how VAR has got to now. So as soon as you see two players go down in the box, or you suddenly see a player get put through on goal with no defender between him and the goal, you suddenly think, oh yeah, well they're going to draw the lines out. There's something. They're going to find something wrong here, that his shoulder's off or his toes off or something like that. And that was just one of those for me where, you know, Tete whips the ball in. You see two players go up. For me,
great ball.
Jimenez, granted, great ball. Jimenez doesn't get enough on it to guide it goalwards, but he really tries to, like, you know, get anything he can on it. But yeah, it's a slightly two hands in the back. Fair enough. But I just, like, I think the official VAR, PGMO, or whatever you want to say, their official take on it was there was not enough there to break the threshold of a foul.
Correct.
And I agree with that, because I don't know what your guys' take is, but you can't jump without your arms. You just can't. You can't. No one is jumping like this, like pencil jump, to win a header. It's just impossible. So you've got to use some kind of, you know, leverage on your arms, and for me it just looked all natural. But yeah, like you say, they Spurs have had the really soft ones given against them, therefore I can see why they've got a gripe against it.
Yeah. So anything to add, or should we move on to more chances Fulham had in that first half?
Yeah, I think we should move on, because I just can't stand talking about VAR. And, like, frankly, like, I think you guys covered it pretty well, and I'd rather talk about Alex Iwobi.
Oh, here, there, and everywhere. What a performance. Just, you know, the heart of everything we did, up and down that pitch, defensively great. But just all over the place. On the left, he's on the right. He was just in his element yesterday. It was maybe his best performance in quite some time, I thought. And it's great to see, because he's a little bit quiet after AFCON, I thought, for a few games. Looked a little bit shagged, really. And for want of, obviously, Lukic being out, we weren't able to rotate. Kearney was out as well. We weren't able to rotate as much as we did. But wow, yesterday I thought a fantastic performance. And should we talk about his goal? Because it's just a ridiculous finish, isn't it? Side footing it from the edge of the box. Sam, go on.
Well, okay, so I was just like, one of my friends was asking me about this goal, and the thing with Alex Iwobi, I'm not sure how you guys feel about this, but the thing about Alex Iwobi that always kind of like ceases to amaze me is I never ever know when he's actually going to score. He kind of like moves around a bit, almost like a poltergeist or something like that. He's just kind of just gliding, and even when he like the finish on that was so clean, but it's also just really unexpected. It kind of just comes out of nowhere a little bit, and nothing that he really does in the lead up to that, for me at least, deeply suggests that that's what he's going for. He looks like he's still just trying to like move up the pitch, but it's just like the thing just glides, and he's really good at doing these like really like low, just I don't even know what like the physics kind of like term for it is, but it's just like these low gliding, just kind of like just scraping the grass kind of like shots. Like it's just hitting, and no one does it better. And he does it with like such precision, and he's always scoring those goals. And I just like, because he's never really kind of like, he's never really doing like a Wilson where he's just like twatting it within an inch of its life. These are these very kind of like fine-tuned precision shots. And I really don't know how he does it, but I love him for it. But it's just so unexpected every single time. I'm not sure. Do you guys have a different take on that? Or like, because I see the game differently and I recognize that. But at the same time, it just, sorry, Dave, you go.
No. Well, before I answer that, Skibby, do poltergeists glide? Or I thought they threw things around the room. I mean, what's the take on that?
It's more just kind of like an unexpected kind of like way in which he moves. I can't really predict what's going to happen when a ball comes into contact with him.
Okay. Well, enough of the paranormal. Let's So on your point, I think you're right. He is a very kind of casual player, isn't he? And he does everything.
Nonchalant.
Yes, he's nonchalant. He is. That's a fantastic word for it. He's nonchalant, and I think that just sums it up. That goal really to side foot it home from that distance. But great little link up play between those two on fantastic form, just get again to score, to put that second goal in early and just kind of not, put so much pressure on Spurs at that point. I thought, we were just taking our opportunities for once, something that we're very critical of Fulham of, not taking our chances. Go back to that Everton game. If we'd got the second goal in that game, I think we'd have won that too. But we didn't. So hopefully a bit of a lesson learned and being a bit more clinical. Of course, Skibby, there was that chance, I think, from Tete as well, which was really close, more close than I'd realised, having watched it back, than I had done at the stadium. I know it was his left foot, but I think it was one that if it hits the target, it's a goal, right?
Yeah. And, well, kind of similar to his goal at the first tie in the earlier in the season. Just sort of, Tete just lines it up, thinks he's going to hit it, and fair enough. But what I would never understand is, why does Tete have the license to shoot but Berger doesn't? Why Tete doesn't? You can almost see the cogs whirring. Like, Berger gets it, looks up, sees the goal and goes, wait, sideways. And then, Tete gets it, ball edge of the box, lines up and goes, yeah, absolutely. And just doesn't catch it correctly. But
I think it's the path to hell is led with good intention. And I think Berger is thinking about it, and he's, again, the cogs are turning. Whereas maybe Tete, there's not even just like a cog. There's more of just like a single coil that kind of goes, fuck it. and I think we need more of that. We need more of that, because I think that is where great football comes from. It comes from seeing an opportunity and taking it. Do you know what? Actually, I wanted to raise a point with you guys. I wanted your take on this, because our good friend João Palhinha was on the pitch yesterday, and what you just said reminded me of a conflict that him and Tete had in like the later stages of like the second half, and obviously as well, the João Palhinha of old isn't the same as the one that's currently at Spurs. I'm pretty sure he's still got the most tackles in the league, even at the moment. But it must be a very, very wonderful thing to go into a game against João Palhinha and know he's not going to hurt you as much as he probably hurts everybody else. Because like, that's going to give you a lot of freedom that it probably isn't awarded to any other team in the Premier League. But you can even see it when he's like playing us. He does. When João's at 90% all the time, I think he goes down a little bit to 75 when he's playing against us. Like, there's not the full commitment there. What do you guys reckon?
I totally agree with you. I think he was lacking a little 10% yesterday. I think
an inside man.
I think he's an emotional guy. I think we saw that when he scored goals for us, and I think he really respects the crowd. Skibby put up a video, didn't he, at the end of the game with João coming over to the Fulham fans after a loss as well, so he's obviously down about that, but he's come over to the fans and they've given him a fantastic reception. He's given it the heart and everything. And there's a nice video on the website as well. Fulham Instagram, about him and Bassi kind of embracing each other in a very kind of close way.
I want him back. I really want him back. And that,
because that's quite interesting. I think Steve Reynolds raised that as a question in the Discord group. Like, would you take him?
Questions, yeah.
Okay. If I'm taking Cess as like the template on like a vibe signing, for example, and just kind of like of all the players I'd want to come back and just kind of like re-enter this specific fold, like, oh, Iwobi and Palhinha for me, that could be everything that I could ever want. But I have massive bias because I love João Palhinha so much. So I understand if that's potentially unpopular, not necessarily the most thought out, but I'm just thinking purely for me, oh, I'd love to see him home. I'd love to see him home.
I think it's more, I wish he'd never left rather than I wish we'd buy him back.
Fair.
That's how I feel about it. I think, like, you know, he is a fantastic destroyer in midfield. And I think we miss that at times. I really do. I thought Sander Berger was really, really good yesterday. But he often is, I think, when we're at home and we're the team pressing, because he's really good at recycling the ball around. I get really frustrated with him when we don't have the ball, because I just don't think he is effective enough at breaking up play and winning headers and intercepting and all the things that you'd expect a number 6 to be able to do. I don't think he's naturally got those abilities, which João has in abundance. So that João's a brilliant player, a very kind of specific player, and his emotion is, you just connect with him, don't you? Like, he's just what you want when you're a fan. You want a player that's going to like go mad when he scores and really get involved. So I think he's been missed, but I mean, you can't be, the new SCR model that's coming in, we just can't be signing 30-plus-year-old players on mature contracts, massively high wages, with no sell-on fee. It's just no sell-on potential. It's just not going to work with this new formula. But
really, I yearn, and let me yearn.
You're a sentimental man, Sam.
I am. So is my mother. It's our greatest flaws. Anyway.
I think just to add to that, it's just the ship has sailed, right?
Yeah.
He left for Bayern for 200 grand a week. Fine. Can't fault him for it. Hasn't worked out. He's now on loan at Spurs. That contract still hasn't changed. He's now 30, 31. So, I mean, I just can't see him coming back and taking almost like a 50% pay cut. I just can't see him taking, like, you want to get him, even if he does come back with the limited sale potential, like Dave mentioned, you want him on 60K maybe max, because just to potentially be a Reed upgrade. I just don't see it anymore. And David Wellington, I was just about to absolutely call out in the chat saying, is it controversial to say we're better with João? I think we are. And I was about to say, well, absolutely not. But then he did say, no, I meant without. And absolutely, you are bang on without. And I think we even said this. And this was a point that I made.
I think we did actually a while ago. I think you're right.
Even when we had Palhinha, we pinpointed that he was limiting the centre mid partnership. So Lukic was just on the cusp of being sold. We just weren't sold on him. And suddenly when Palhinha leaves, Lukic came in and really made a stake for that number 6 shirt and was actually a vast improved player. And what was vastly evident to me was Palhinha was limiting our midfield balance. And without Palhinha, we've suddenly got a better balance all round, that you're not relying on this warrior who's going to win the ball and do this X, Y, Z, but you actually have a better balanced midfield with, yes, we missed that kind of bite in the tackle, but with Berger, you have this player that can drive with it and pick out a pass, and he's got a decent through ball on him. I think we saw that yesterday as well, where he sort of drove into the open space and I think he picked out Wilson on the wide right, or ESL 1-2, and you're just like, oh, hang on, he sort of kicked on an attack. João, for me, just had those moments. He was a moments player. He would come in with a crunching tackle. I remember against Arsenal, Saka, where we won 2-1, and you're like, absolute goal-saving tackle. He would come up with the goal against Brighton.
The highlight reel for that boy is second to none. And that's why I love him. I
would argue, though, that I agree that when we're at home and we are the dominant side, Berger has the ability to be more effective in possession than Zhao is. 100%. 100%.
I know what you guys are saying, but it's like it was like what Skibby was saying before, or kind of like alluding to, you know, like yes, Guardiola kind of ball and like
Ruined
playing
it.
through the back. Yeah, it ruined it, but it's right, and it's the right thing to do. But like prime Barclays, you know.
No.
Like-
I was gonna see the flip side to it as well, because
sorry. Okay,
just to go back to the original point I was making. I still think though, without the ball, that's when I think Zhao actually would make us better. You know, if we were away at Man City or Man United, or if we're trying to see a game out, you know, and the other team are on the attack, I want Zhao in that team instead of Berger every day of the week. I think it really depends on the game state and the opponents. But I think I think when we're on top and at home, I think I can see where his limitations are. But cracking player. But I think we probably should move on from him. You know, he can come back for his forever Fulham award, like Karagounis on Sunday, which was awesome. So yeah. Okay, so Zhao, what else happened in that first half? Not much from Tottenham. Vicario booted the ball out of the way a lot.
Yeah, the Diop tackle. Yeah, which the only time I think I've ever seen Diop get a standing ovation from the Hammersmith end. It was just I can't remember who. I think was it Kolo Muani, one of the two strikers who just seemed to have a shot on goal, and Diop just came out of absolutely nowhere and just slid in and took it out. It was so good. Yeah. But Bassi did sky one.
Do you know what? That was a good chance. That should have been, if he'd have hit the target, that's a goal. That was a really good chance.
Oscar Bob again just hooked it back into the danger area.
He miskicked it. It was complete miskick. He was trying to shoot, but
right footed.
Yeah.
I truly think if Bassi was able to finish, he might be one of the best players of our generation. Like if he could finish, how amazing would he be? Like, but I think he will always start in whatever team that he was in at like an early grade, and they did just keep on pushing him back, just being like, well, we definitely can't get rid of you, but let's just because he definitely would have started as a striker and then just got pushed further and further back. Bless him. But I can see where his heart is, and it might be where mine is as well. But he skies it more than he ever actually gets it anywhere near to that goal.
I mean, he had a pretty good game yesterday as well, to be fair.
He had a great game. I loved his fuck around with Richarlison. Like that saga was so great and enjoyable to watch. In terms of just like pure storytelling, football, like I've sworn already.
Narrative. I know what you mean.
Narrative. Love
that. I didn't enjoy that battle at all. I thought Richarlison, when he came on, just seemed to win. Anytime a Fulham player went near him, he went over and they got a free kick and we got a yellow card. It was driving me nuts. He played well, to be fair, Richarlison. He's exactly what you need in a relegation battle. I think he might be the key for them getting out of it. But I thought interesting in Bassi, he got fouled about 7 times by what's his name? Kolo Muani. He seemed to be immune from a yellow card yesterday, but he was. I thought he played pretty well overall. It was. And there wasn't much from Spurs in that first half, was there? Can you remember too many chances?
No, not really.
Not at all. I don't. To be honest, I don't really remember Leno making a save.
No,
at all.
Well, there was a couple of shots, but like they were just so like. I don't think Leonard needed to touch any of them.
No one stood out.
Sorry,
but no one stood out for me for Spurs. No one I could say, he looked a good player.
I was very disappointed with Xavi Simons. I thought he was a player that can make things happen. We've seen in the last few games for Spurs, he has shown his quality. And there's a guy behind me. I speak to him every game, but I don't know what his name is. So apologies if you see this and I don't know, I'll get your name in the next game. But he was rightly pointed out that, Spurs were 1-0 down, then they went 2-0 down, and then Spurs won a corner. And Xavi Simons and Conor Gallagher were just walking over to take the corner. There was no urgency. And he was just like, what are they doing? And I was like, well, to be honest, it's probably just their nature, because from where they've come from and where they play, they're just not used to being in a relegation battle. They just don't know how to act. And they were just strolling around with zero urgency at 2-0 down when, points are starting to slip away from them. If I was a Spurs fan, I'd be livid just watching Simmons just stroll up, take a corner with like 2 minutes left in the half. Like there's just no urgency. But yeah, like you say, no one stood out. I think Solanke had a really crap game.
Wasn't in it. Invisible.
Yeah.
Well, he did. I think the only impact he had was for Fulham's second goal, where he just let Iwobi play a 1-2 round him, didn't even track him, and just stood there. But yeah, completely odd. But no, fair play to Spurs. Second half, they changed it up.
Actually,
that started to hurt us. Sorry, go on, Sam.
I did want to raise something with you guys, and it probably segues us nicely into the second half, because I think it was probably a little bit more of a conversation in the second half. But overall, ESR, what's everybody's thoughts on that a little bit? Like, because he was doing a lot of almost for me, and I'm really trying to like find a way to articulate how I feel about ESR right now, specifically in that game. I'm gonna go with underwhelmed, but I'd like to hear you guys' take on this. Give me your thoughts.
Go on, Dave.
I thought he played all right. I thought he
played all right.
Yeah, I thought his movement was good. I thought he was trying to break the line a lot, which was really helpful when we were moving forward. I think he needs a goal. And he had 2 good chances. I was going to say, like, we came out the second half, we've been switching off in second half a lot. It's been so frustrating, especially at home. But we came out quite well. We should have probably wrapped it up. He had 2 chances, the first of which he was offside. It would have been pulled back. I think he kind of put it just past the post. The angle kind of got away from him. Good build-up play for Bob. Sorry, Sam. But
should have squared it to Jimenez. I don't know why he didn't.
Yeah. And then the one that Iwobi put him through, great vision by Iwobi. But I think that was another example of ESR breaking the line. I actually thought it was a good save. People will say one-on-one he should be scoring. Maybe that's true. But I thought Vicario came out, made himself big, got a good hand on it. I just thought it was a pretty good save. But yeah, I thought he had an okay performance. I don't think he was poor by any means, and I think his movement was pretty good. That was my view.
I thought he was fine. I think I think it's kind of going to be between him and King. I think the first out of the 2 of those to get the next goal from that kind of 10 position, I think is probably going to dictate the rest of the season, because I think either of them could get a massive boost in confidence from the next goal that they score, because that position could really go for either. Like, I think we could have started King yesterday or the day before, I forget, and could have had a very, very similar result. And maybe it could have actually gotten a little bit more confidence under the boy.
He was good when he came on.
He was good.
Like, everything down. It was really that's just what you need against tired legs at the end of the game when they're on top. He was just chasing every ball over the top.
Yeah, I really go back and forth on who we should prioritize this season, because for me, neither of them have kind of been an out and out definitively. They're playing, and then the other one's the understudy. It's not entirely clear to me at this stage, and I would, because it's such an important kind of role, that I would like us to kind of have a little bit more of a clearer mind of what we're doing there. But maybe I'm just being a little bit picky. I can recognize that maybe I'm just starting some filler here, but I just wanted to get you guys' takes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the 10 role generally. I think they're both, like, this summer it wouldn't be a priority of mine to try and replace someone in the 10
I
agree. I think it's like, let's let King develop. I think he's had much more opportunities this year. I think he'll continue to improve. And ESR has had a better season. You know, I know there's a lot of haters still out there. There always will be, probably because of his fee, but I think he's had a much better season. Maybe needs a few more goals. I think that's what would really help him, and probably silence some of those haters. But performances are there more or less. I think he's kind of 7 out of 10 every week now.
Yeah.
So, and you know, the goals, we're getting goals from elsewhere, and I think he's, as I say, I think his movement's good. He's freeing up space for people like Wilson, I think. So yeah, pretty happy with him at the moment, I'd say.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Second half. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. And then Spurs, I suppose they scored. It was all after they brought on Tell and Richarlison. I thought Tell
changed the shape.
Wow, he was really impressive. Tell, he was great on the ball. Gave Petty a lot to think about. And obviously, and Richarlison's just Richarlison, isn't he? He's kind of the player you probably love on your team, but hate to have him against you. You know, he's diving all over the place. He's, you know, roughing up defenders. He's getting into the box. You know, creating a threat. Them two were the positives for Spurs, I thought, on the day, and brought them back into it. Just frustrating for them to get a goal back when we'd been so dominant. I think that was the disappointment at the time.
I do think we made. I think we adjust. We climatized to that quite well. I think it's one of the few times like Silva's actually done like the right substitutions at the right time. I felt, and I felt the introduction of Muniz was really, really needed, as well as Chukwueze as well, and even Kenny. I thought Kenny actually really, really helped when he came on. He always adds like a bit of what's the word? A stability, for lack of a better word, I think. And it's a slower control, but it's a different kind of pace, and there's a lot of confidence in the way in which he moves around, which I do appreciate. And I think I was just like, I know you said you were irritated by it, but Richarlison is a menace, but so is Bassey. So I was really, really enjoying the fact that, like, yes, he is a real handful, but we also have a massive handful in Bassey. And I think that was quite contained that section. And I really enjoyed that Goku Frieza-esque kind of like battle that they were having. Bassey holding the ball away from Richarlison was pure entertainment for me. Like I really, really enjoyed that. I'm sure you guys might have like some other opinions of that, but I was like, yes, this is exactly what needs to be happening right now. And Richarlison just getting so upset with that was really that was everything that I wanted at that time.
Yeah. Quite like a poltergeist, I thought, Richarlison. You know, the way he,
that's an excellent, astute piece of journalism there, David.
Yeah, no, he was good. And they did put some pressure on us at the end, Skibby, didn't they? You know, they were trying to, they obviously got a bit of confidence from that goal, and they tried to create chances.
I mean, looking at the just a point on the Bassey and Richarlison battle after he scored, I thought Bassey could have gone down, if I'm honest, because the fact that he had him round the back, proper chokehold like that. I mean, how is that different to raising your hands into someone's neck, which is a red card offence? So if he got him in the headlock and then Bassey was like selling it and sort of threw himself backwards and gone, oh my God, he's choking me. Surely that's got to be looked at, but that's just me. That would have been
prime theatre for Calvin Bassey to go down in such a way.
It's just not in his nature, is it?
Yeah.
But no, I think Tell was the difference. And to be fair, for their goal, he had Tete twisting, turning like he was on skates.
Yeah, he really did.
And then there was the overlap, I think, from Gray, and I think just nipped him back post. But yeah, they carried on. Not really knocking on the door. It wasn't like save after save after save. But I guess just a point on the Sam's point, I thought Silva got the subs wrong again, personally.
Oh,
did you?
Okay.
Wow.
Not in terms of personnel, but I just thought we were 2-0. We were cruising. We've got a game against West Ham coming up on Wednesday. Give Muniz half an hour. Give Chukwueze half an hour.
Oh, so you thought it should have been earlier?
Should have been earlier. I
Mm.
thought.
okay.
I think
All right.
just because they weren't pressing us, we didn't need to keep Raul and stuff on the pitch. And I think if I just quickly look it up now, we didn't make the Chukwueze change until the 72nd minute.
So yeah.
Okay.
So 70. So I thought we could have made those changes a bit earlier. But I think what was very clear to me was the reason we were getting a lot more pressure from Spurs was when Raul did go off, we just lost that intensity up top. Because Raul, for me, was everywhere. His work rate was second to none. He was winning things. He was creating and bringing others into play, which, yeah, Muniz has just come back from injury. He's just not quite there yet. But for me, it was just that intensity up top. Once you lost that, we were just always on the back foot. So
I must have, I think there's something wrong with me with Raul because I don't see that. I thought he had a really quiet game.
Glasses.
I just thought he had a quiet game. I just didn't think he was.
Did you? I thought he was. Yeah. I thought he was incredible. I thought he was exceptional.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he had a bad game, but I just didn't see him involved or have much impact on the match. But that wasn't like a major criticism of mine I was going to make today. I thought he was fine, but I wouldn't have picked him out as a standout performer personally.
I definitely didn't think he was bad. I'm kind of in Dave's camp though. Like the intensity that you spoke of just then, I didn't really see it as much. And I don't really, but also as well, I'm not really looking for that in Raul at the moment. So maybe I can totally appreciate I didn't pick up on something. I think on the point of Muniz, I understand actually getting him on for half an hour rather than 20. I do kind of disagree though. I do think that he does need time and to kind of like get his footing in a little bit more. And I think, well, say for example, he comes on in the 60th minute and then Tottenham score directly after that, or that's not necessarily the best that's not good for his like confidence in my opinion. And I really want to prioritize actually getting him back to the best possible position that he can be at, because I think Muniz is really important for us going forward. And if we can get Muniz back in form, because from everything that we know about Muniz, it will probably only take maybe like one, maybe even 2 goals, and then he'd probably be back into some half decent form. So I want to put him in every position physically possible. And I don't
think Sam just straight down a wormhole. We'll check on him later.
Yeah, he's frozen at the moment. This is it's quite jarring actually if you're watching live. Anyway, it was.
Here's a follow up though. Are you concerned that Muniz didn't win any of his flicks
in the second half?
Wow, and there goes Sam. He will be back. Everyone, don't worry. Sorry, carry on, Skippy.
I was going to say, were you concerned that I don't think Muniz won any flicks? I don't think he really held up the ball once.
He didn't have much impact on the game either when he came on. He ran around like a headless chicken, really. He looks like someone who's not played a lot of football. And, I think the thing is with Muniz, he is going to take some time. I think the FA Cup game's a good opportunity for him to get some more minutes in his legs. Just get in the 6-yard box, Muniz. Just get in whenever you can, because that's where the goals are for him. I just don't think he's up to speed personally, but I'm willing to give him time because he had a bad injury and he's missed a lot of football.
Yeah. Because I think that's where the difference was for me. Was Raul for me was just running around. He was, causing havoc. He was just doing his normal thing, and he was still winning and holding up the ball. Where I just feel like as soon as Muniz came on, he just wasn't holding the ball up. I get the fact that he's going to need time, but it was just a concern I've got, a mild one.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's suppose towards the end of the game we've spoken about Spurs having some chances. There are a few little half chances, particularly when it got into the 90th minute, made it all a little bit nervy, didn't it? It felt reasonably comfortable because we hadn't conceded too
Last
many
kick of the game,
chances.
though.
Yeah, I know. I thought the
Yeah.
Cuenca sub was good. I thought that helped
Yeah.
when we were up against pressure. I thought the timing of it was right. And I thought it was helpful to have Kearney on the pitch when he came on. I thought he kind of started linking things up nicely. I just thought we saw the game out pretty well. I think Silva does need some credit for that. I take your point on should the attacking subs have been earlier,
Yeah.
but
And
I think we saw the
I
game
see
out
Steve Reynolds saying we were cruising. Why would you change the team? And I think it's because we were cruising that change it because we've got a game in 2 days' time or 3 days' time. And I think that was the only reason was just we don't need to take unnecessary risks at this point. And I would consider that, Chukwueze is someone who is direct and able to sort of make things happen. Mooney's like for like give Raul a rest. It just seemed the right move. But yeah, I mean, I just think that we sat on it for about 10 minutes and then, and then it just seems like the wheels came off a little bit.
Yeah. Fair enough. But there again, we did it. We got through the final whistle. We picked up the 3 points, which is lovely. It's the first of 4 games against 4 out of the bottom 5. That's a bit of a mouthful. Let me explain that. So we've played Spurs. We've got West Ham at home next. Then we've away to Forest, and then I believe we've got Burnley at home right after.
I reckon Scott Parker's going to make it this time.
5 margin, Skibby. I think.
I don't think. I might be wrong here, but I don't think Scott Parker's been in opposition at Craven Cottage because when he was at Bournemouth, he got sacked just before.
He was there when we drew 1-1 in the Championship season.
He was, yeah.
That's the only time, though. I think.
Not in the Premier League, then.
Yeah. Other than that, I think you're right.
It's a very interesting group of games as well, considering like our position and like the points in the league. Like this could be a very, I don't want to put too much weight on it, but I'm also in a state of positive visualization. I'm on a couple of books on this at the moment, but we could do some serious climbing in the next couple of weeks here, if everything goes to plan and everything falls very, very nicely. Even by the time that we get to like Burnley, because I don't know why, but I feel that we always it always kind of like falls to shit whenever we play Burnley. I don't know why. I just kind of have that experience the past couple of years. So I'm actually looking at Burnley with probably like the most amount of like apprehension, even though I know that's a crazy thing to say. But all the other ones, that's looking all right to me. And I mean, is it too ostentatious to say we could potentially be looking at 7th?
We have got a massive opportunity in the next few games against these sides to pick up.
So did Brentford, though.
So did Brentford, but
Brentford
let's just
have a really easy run as well. I think in terms of league position.
But for Fulham, I think we've got a real opportunity to kick on. This month. We're as good as safe now. Really, 10 games to go, 40 points achieved already. We've got a really opportunity to kick on. Let's not forget the FA Cup game as well, because that's another massive opportunity for the club to get that draw and then potentially kick on to another quarter final. It's an important month, and if it's an opportunity this year to not just beat our record points total, but also maybe pick up a European spot, whether that be 7th or 8th. We're in the mix for sure. And this
saying
month,
that though, because we got obviously West Ham, Forest, Burnley, which you'd want 9 points from those games given where they are, and the form table doesn't lie. But after that, we've got Liverpool, who hit and miss season, but also we then have Brentford after that. So if we take 9 points, say 10 points from if we were able to get a draw against Liverpool, we're right on the heels or skyrocketing at that point after that run of games with then Brentford to play. It's going to be interesting to see where we end up, but like you say, don't count your chickens.
I wouldn't count much. I don't think we'll win all those games. I think there'll be maybe we might lose or draw one or two of them, but just because, I suppose earlier in the season we did a run of games where we won 4 in a row, but that is not common for Fulham.
It would be very this season though for us to kind of like actually end up in a European spot. I feel like that's kind of giving this season a little bit, because this season has kind of felt a little bit more underwhelming than it actually is. It's actually been quite a prosperous season so far. And I think there hasn't been as many kind of like key moments as I can think of in like previous seasons, but we've just kind of been slowly chugging along. I mean, like Jimenez, I feel like I know Wilson's he's having the season of his life at the moment, but if I think of like what this season kind of like represents in a player, it's probably Jimenez. It's just trucking along quite well, quite consistently. Again, just doing those consistent things, and it's kind of tallying and compounding at the moment. I don't know. I can see it. I can see a European spot in the most kind of like in the most unsexy way. I can see that. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, I guess it all starts on Wednesday. West Ham at home. West Ham, I thought they looked like they're having a bit of a resurgence, but the last couple of games, it looked like they've come crashing down to earth a bit. I still think they've got good players. There's good players in that team. And I think they will be a different kind of test to Spurs. Nuno's been there a bit longer now, so they'll have a way of playing. I think their defence is there to be gotten at. And I think if we can be just as clinical, we could have a similar result. But this is relying on Fulham to be just as clinical. Possibly could be missing Harry Wilson. Noticed he came off injured. So I think Silva said after the game, he mentioned something at half time, stayed on and ended up going off injured. So we might see Chukwueze come in, which is a different kind of threat. So just shows the strength of the squad. But let's give you thoughts on West Ham, where they're at, and I suppose what you're expecting on Wednesday.
I've started to see a bit more of a settled West Ham under Nuno. I think they've put in some decent performances and haven't warranted losing the games that they have potentially lost in recent games. I think Liverpool, you just got to write that one off. I think it was 3 corners. They just couldn't defend corners, but I guess that works in their favour because we can't really score from corners either. So there is that. But I think West Ham's going to be the most difficult game of the upcoming 3. I think Forest are just in free fall, 4th manager of the season, just not settled. They don't know what their best team is. A good time to play them. West Ham probably found their feet a bit more. Still got a bit of a fragile defence, but I think with Disasi coming in, he's played quite well from Chelsea. And Burnley, I saw the Brentford game. They've got players; they can hurt you. So that'll be an interesting one. But no, West Ham coming up. I think it should be, because it's at home. We should be comfortable because we are, comfortable at home. We've got all of our players back. We may miss Wilson, but with Chukwueze coming in, that's a great replacement to have. So, and like I mentioned before, I'm comfortable with Diop if Anderson is still injured. But I just think that we've got enough about us to see off West Ham, so that shouldn't be a problem. But it's just whether the team turn up. Fatigue comes in at this point of the season. We just played on Sunday. Therefore, are they able to come out straight again and give us a game on 3 days later? That's a good question.
I think it's about as well, like, let's not let them feel like there's an opportunity for them in this game. Like with Spurs, we punished them twice early. We were like, there's nothing for you here today. So that's how we need to approach this. Because I think the longer the game goes on, and if they get sniffs at goal, and in the second half they'll be shooting towards their fans, all of those things, I think I don't want this to be a game where we've missed chances and then West Ham come into it towards the end. That just feels like the template for a Fulham West Ham match at Craven Cottage, doesn't it? They've done that to us before. I think we just need to be at it from the off. And I think if we are and we can get ahead, it's just about getting ahead against these teams down the bottom, you know, kill off their confidence, go for the throat.
Just straight disrespect.
Yeah,
Just
that's it.
Slap them in the face.
Slap them in the face, you know, kick them up the arse.
Spit. You know,
spit on them a bit. Yeah. Throw things at them like a poltergeist.
Degrade them.
Like
this could go south.
Yeah, I think to be honest, I think that might be the end of our West Ham preview. We're running out of ways in which we can hurt them. So yeah, I think it's been a good show though. I mean, has anyone got anything else they wanted to add or talk about before we close down? I mean, we're coming towards an hour, and you know, what are people thinking?
I've just enjoyed my time with you, lovely people, and your shining faces. I'm on the delirious side now. Yeah, good. Yeah, good.
Thanks everyone in the chat for joining us. It's been a lot of fun today, and it's been great to pick up 3 points. Let's try and do it again on Wednesday night. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy Wednesday. You know, the pressure's off. 40 points. Get in there. Skibby, thanks for joining.
Thank you very much for having me. Always good to talk about a win. But yeah, let's make it 2 from 2 with West Ham on Wednesday.
Sam, great to see your face again.
Always a pleasure, boys. Take us out.
And yes, let's do it with we haven't seen Townsend in a while, so everyone's been stepping in. But I'll go for it tonight. You are.